Please do sit down. Can I have a big hand? John Barnes, Andrew Davis, and Mark Appel. Appel, yeah. Mark Appel, that's what happens, Mark. So, what we're going to do, pick out your phones, because we have 9 statements. We're going to check with you where you stand. We want to learn where you stand, and we'll ask them if they are surprised by where you stand or not.
All right.
But before we go there, there's one thing I want to bring back to you. You asked a very specific question, and it was about what is holding you back.
Yeah.
And I jotted it down quickly, the numbers, and I want to repeat them and ask you whether you're surprised or not. So what is holding you back in focusing more, spending more time, energy, money, etc., on content marketing, branded content, etc., in the business-to-business environment? Then, is it a matter of budget?
Yep.
2%. So there's no issue of budget.
Yeah. That was very surprising.
Surprising. So, is it a measure of that ROE measurement issues? If I'm well, only 8%. A campaign management, 8%. The generation of leads as an issue, 10 or 11% or so. So, those are not the issues.
No.
What are the issues then? Resources and time, 30%.
Yeah.
And creating content, 39%.
Those don't surprise me.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of reasons to start. Everybody's sort of convinced, but then it's a matter of time and content creation.
Yeah, I think there are 2 things that you could take away from those. One, the resource problem is you have to stop doing something now that isn't netting the results you could net from creating better content. So I think the resource problem is easy to solve if you replace your content marketing initiative with something that's not working. So if your events are mildly successful, look at the results you get from events, and then you could exchange your event budget and your resources and time and energy for an investment in content. The second thing is the content creation itself. I think you have to focus on creating less content but see bigger results. So instead of thinking you have to post a ton of blog posts and you have to create videos every week, or you need a podcast every month on top of the video, stop thinking about that and just create one piece of valuable content that you deliver on a regular basis, designed to replace the lead generation you used to have with whatever it is you got rid of. It's a great way to make the argument to your executive team as well. Hey, this is ROI focused, and look, if you fail, you fail. You set a good goal, you went after an objective, you got budget and resources, you actually created great content, and it didn't work. But anyone who's done this that I've worked with or talked to has been really successful in staying focused on the goal and objective because it was concrete, and they've actually been able to deliver great content that does drive the right results. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, I think what's interesting about that is that I mentioned the research papers that we produce, and what we noticed about 4 or 5 years ago is that big IT vendors, big insurance companies, big resellers of other things would produce those because they have resources. Scratching our head about why don't you produce them, and there were 2 kind of key reasons. The first thing was they didn't know how to produce it.
Exactly.
The second thing was they didn't know what to produce. What was going to be interesting. And so that's, in my mind, where the partnership with the publisher comes back in. Because we are constantly talking to readers about what interests them. We're constantly monitoring what is going on our sites, what are good stories, bad stories, what's popular, what's unpopular, what's trending, what's dropping off. And actually that's a shortcut to finding out about what's there to write about.
Checking with Mark finally. So if somebody comes to you, and everybody's more or less convinced we should do this, there's budget, there's leads, everything is there. And then the reason why, some of your colleagues, why not? Well, no time, no idea where to start. How do you manage that issue?
Yeah, prioritize. and just start. I mean, if I look to our first content mapping calendar thing, it was huge. And we started to realize, this might be too extensive, might be too broad, too deep. So at a certain moment, you have to be pragmatic and just start. And it is not that difficult. It is not rocket science. I mean, pick out a certain theme, pick out a certain target audience, and just start to write an appealing story. And then you pretty soon you start to realize, hey, this piece of content we can divide into several pieces. We can write a blog post. Hey, if we do it in a nice way, we can make a kind of infographic of it. We can make a video clip of it. It's not that difficult. Just start with it.
Yeah.
Just start.
Yeah, really.
Okay, let's get into the statements. So there's something for you to, we want to check where you stand. Can I have the first statement on screen? Content marketing is the only marketing left. You use it in your presentation. Seth Godin, you said, no, I do not completely agree. So where do you stand? Agree or disagree? Content marketing is the only marketing left. I think you are going to influence this audience by the statements you made before. Disagree. Wow, everybody listen very carefully. What do you say, Andrew?
I've been thinking a lot about this. I mean, this is the kind of statement that's supposed to make people either angry or happy. So it's working. I don't think it's the only marketing left yet. How about that? I mean, I think...
Meaning? Within 5 years it is.
No, well, I don't know what the timeline is. I mean, I think I think everything old is new again. And so if you look back at the history of all media...
Wait. Sometimes you're going too fast.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I will slow down.
Everything old.
I get too excited.
Yeah.
Everything
great.
old.
I love your excitement.
Is new again.
Everything old. What do you mean by that?
I mean that if you look at old media, old television media, old radio media, it went through an early phase where brands underwrote the content, right? Your favorite show was brought to you by a cigarette company or a coffee company or a margarine company, and then that happened in television, and then it turned into we need to diversify our revenue streams, get more brands creating more content. So then we went to advertising, and I think long term we're looking at a world in which even the biggest media brands are driven in the way old television shows were driven. So I don't think that that everything will always be branded content stuff created by brands, or content brands, by the way. But I think it boils down to this. In today's online world, if you want to raise awareness, you have to buy ads. I think it works, right? If you want to raise awareness, it's an unbelievably effective way to do it, and it still works in traditional media, and I think it's still a great thing to invest in if you want to raise awareness. If you want to increase demand for the products and services you sell, you have to create content. There's just no way around it. So if you want to raise awareness, buy ads.
4%, yeah. Well,
if you want to increase content.
Your argument is it's moving a little bit, but 7. Something is happening.
So if you want to increase demand, create content. And I think the smartest marketers in the world are doing a bit of both right now. And I think if
keep on talking.
Hey,
keep on talking.
Okay.
It's incredible.
I feel like it's a race. But I think if you said, I think you'd be really smart right now if you said, I'm going to take 10% of my advertising budget every year for the next 10 years, invest it in content until there's a point at which it doesn't work, then I'd stop.
Yeah, that's a game now.
So I really think you should consider we have a problem with, I call it CMO pizza, right? We have a marketing pie that's getting sliced more and more ways, but it's not getting any bigger, right? Okay. So we've got to start making difficult choices. Okay. And I think the smart marketers are making those choices in the right ways.
Well done. I would go back to the point that I made earlier, which is combined with advertising, it has a more powerful effect. So I agree. I don't think content marketing is the only marketing left yet.
Mark?
Whether that changes or not, we'll see.
If you want to build
content marketing, I mean, essentially, nothing changed. So still, we need
what
to
you said before.
Appealing content. Although the number of channels, it increased dramatically. The number of audiences that we can serve increased dramatically. And I agree, because if I look to ourselves, how we create awareness for our content is also by pushing awareness through commercial channels. Okay. So we also buy media in order to generate traffic for our content that we create.
Does anybody know how old the concept of content marketing is?
It's over 100 years.
Yeah. And when I was doing my research for this event, just checking up, I found this great timeline of history of content marketing that more or less begins with Michelin guides.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the birth of Christ.
The birth of Christ, but
great content marketing.
Great content marketing. good story too with the yearly Christmas thing. Huh?
Yeah.
Have you seen the billboards for Christ? I mean, the advertising campaign for God is amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Every church has a billboard.
We're not going to put that on a vote. Now, back to the audience again, because I think this is an important. And I'm going to change the statement a little bit. The original statement is content marketing won't work in my industry. You're not going to say that, but I want to add the word. Wait, before pressing. Probably won't work in my industry because I want an honest answer because nobody will answer this. Right? Yeah. So probably won't work in my industry. I'm just curious. Most of you are in business to business. Content marketing probably won't work in my industry.
Good. I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Oh, there's 4%.
But at the moment you start talking, something tends to happen.
I won't talk first then. Somebody else try it.
No, but
is there an industry you can think of where it probably won't work, where it's not?
Well, like I said in my example, so
Politics.
when I was meeting those B2C guys, I can imagine that for some type of products or services, it will be more difficult to create content. But at the end, every single product or service has a kind of story. Every single founder of a company has a certain belief, and all try to solve certain business issues from a certain audience. So at the end, it will always work.
But then again, I have to get back to the result of your question. It startled me to some extent that if you're so convinced that it's going to work in your industry, how come it's a matter that you lack the time and the capability of creating? Huh? So there's really something to win.
I think that comes down to the ROI, right? Like I think a lot of people that say they believe content marketing will work in their industry are still thinking about content that will help their brand, not the audience first. And I think actually Coca-Cola Journey, are you guys familiar with the Coca-Cola Journey campaign kind of content marketing that they, raise your hand if you are, I don't know. Okay, for those of you that don't know content, like Coca-Cola invested in this 2020 initiative to create amazing content. And what they ended up doing was creating amazing content about Coca-Cola. And all that does is, it's great content for people who already drink Coca-Cola. It's not increasing the number of people who want to drink, who drink Pepsi today and should be drinking Coca-Cola tomorrow. I think the difference is that's branded content, right? And they consider it content marketing, so they think it works in their industry. Red Bull is the complete opposite of that. They focus on the audience first. They create content that builds a subscription in a very deep way with an audience they want, and then they leverage that relationship to make them aware of the Red Bull brand, and that's what drives sales. So I will tell you that the only place content marketing I've seen it not work is in an industry for a brand who has 100% market penetration and is the most aware brand in the market. So, for example, if you sell corn seed and all the corn farmers are already buying your corn seed, it's almost impossible to get content marketing to work.
Makes sense. We're going to the next statement.
The only thought I've had about that is possibly, given the ROI question, the question should maybe be, won't work in my company. And the reason being that people are worried about it failing.
Sorry, one more time. You want to get back to the statement? Let's go back to the second statement, please.
So rather than saying won't work in my industry, it won't work in my company.
It's so true.
Okay, let's try.
Can we do that on the fly?
Michael, can you change the word industry into company?
Oh, well, just you guys change it in your mind, but hit the button.
No, he can change. He added the word probably as well. Michael, can you change the word industry into company?
And the reason I think that is that in very many instances...
Look. Yeah, I understand what you said, because then it comes closer to the person.
Yes.
It has to do with culture, or my boss won't listen, or stuff like that. You see? Something's changing.
Slight difference.
It is rapidly changing now. Thank you for...
Okay.
Yeah. It's true. It's then you got to find a new job.
Yeah.
Let's move on. No kidding.
Let's move on.
No, I think in native advertising terms, if I was running Native Advertising Today magazine, I'd now make an article out of that.
Yeah.
That's the example of native content.
There's actually a great opportunity to start working with publishers in that way, to be honest. If you think your company is having a really hard time trusting you with generating the content and trusting their brand as kind of an editorial, brand in the marketplace, it's a great way to test the waters and determine if there's a return on investment by working with a publisher who has access to an audience, who can accelerate the growth and can actually demonstrate an ROI in a really rapid manner. So if you're having trouble selling it internally and getting the focus right, like working with a publisher is an easy way to help assuage those 13% or 14%.
Let's go to the next statement.
Yeah.
Without excellent products, content marketing makes no sense. That's easy, isn't it? Agree? Well,
yeah.
exciting.
I think it's the
Are you,
different...
wait. I'm just curious. Why are you laughing, Mark?
No, because I still think that also non-excellent products can be very successful. I mean, there are many examples in the marketplace where non-excellent products were successful.
But, but I don't think they lack longevity, right? They're fads instead of long-term brand successes. I think if your product sucks, just buy ads. Honestly, like you are wasting your time and energy with content marketing, and then find a new job.
And John, back to your truthfulness and taking care.
Well, I would agree with that. That it's not an extreme of black and white. There's not terrible products and only great products. There's a lot of products that are really good that are just average products. Like a light switch is a light switch. It's going to work or not work. It's not going to set the world on fire. Yeah. But interestingly, there's a lot of native content around light switches because it's linked to the Internet of Things and power saving. So even a light switch can become
interesting. That's not a commodity product at that point.
Possibly, yeah.
No, I mean, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, but
wait.
But
yeah,
thermostat, like the Nest, like the Google Nest, that is a kind of a commodity product. And what they achieved...
You don't know, and you wonder what he's talking about.
No, I know Google Nest.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have them in my house.
So what they achieved is that, let's say, the whole experience, of a thermostat, they were able to create some wow factors around that product. So people are more tended to talk about it and share it with others. So from that sense, at the end, if you don't have a kind of product with an experience, and from a content marketing perspective and angle, once you are a customer, you also want them to talk about you. Yeah. And you want them to recommend.
I think Nest is a great example because I didn't buy Nest. I bought Hive, which is the alternative product in the UK. And the reason I bought Hive is I was more trustworthy of British Gas than I was of Google. And so actually I went with a product because of the brand reputation, because of what I read.
But neither of those products
But
suck.
you're a Brit.
The question is...
It also has to do with British gas versus American Google, huh?
No, the question is if the product sucks, would content marketing work? And I think, I don't know an instant, I can't, in fact, as an agency, our motto was, we learned very early on that it's not worth taking the money if we don't believe in their product. And I think if you don't believe in your product, you shouldn't honestly work at the company and you shouldn't invest in content marketing.
You have to define what sucks. It could be a product doing badly, that's a great product that just isn't doing well. It could be a terrible product that needs to be discontinued. So that I think most companies don't make products that are going to
personal
suck.
things we'll discuss
That's
later on with drinks, right? Let's get to the next
Good
statement.
idea.
Yes. Yeah, okay. The best way to sell something, don't sell anything.
Whoa.
We discussed it a little bit. It's not about, we discussed it, Mark, on stage before. It's not about selling, it's about helping people. The moment you help another person, business, whatever, then in the end, you will be preferred supplier.
Yeah, because in the beginning, so trying to create that first moment of contact, of course, you want to help someone. You don't try to sell anything. But at the end, further down the road into the sales funnel, at a certain moment, you have to make that sell. But from content marketing and where it starts, it's helping.
I'm curious about, you don't like this one.
No, but here's why, because I actually think everyone is in sales now. I actually think it's the opposite. I think the best salespeople are the people who actually challenge the audience to make themselves a better person, to be better at their job. They help them solve problems, and then they actually make a sale at the end of the day. And I think what content marketing and marketing in general has to be is focusing on getting people really excited about the things that they care about and slowly moving them down the path of making a sale. So I think in the future there is no handoff of marketing leads to sales guys, right? Like it's like, here's the dumping crap I gave you. I think marketing people are salespeople, and salespeople become marketing people. Your customer service team are salespeople that are also marketing people. They're funding your loyalty loop. They're inspiring people. I think it's the whole idea that your sales is separated from your marketing or your support or any of those divisions are separate in the future.
No, wait,
has to change.
Again,
But what is your meaning? Do you agree then or disagree?
So I think the best way to sell something is to actually sell something. Like, look, you're in the revenue business, so the content you're creating is designed to build a relationship with someone who's going to eventually buy, not a relationship with people who aren't going to buy.
I think it is mentioned, it's a little bit more philosophical.
Oh, okay.
What are you actually into? It's trying to help other people. That you're convinced the products you're trying to...
How about, okay, I'll just throw back the only philosophical quote I know.
Good, that's very honest.
Okay, how's this? Emotion leads to action, reason leads to conclusions. Dr. Donald Kahn.
Yeah, I'm trying to connect what you...
So
thank you very much for sharing this one philosophical quote you had, but I don't see where you try to...
So I think I'm just trying to say that I think the more emotional the content you create, the less salesy it'll become and the more successful you'll be. So I agree with that.
I've got a really good example of this, which I commute from Brighton to London. I've got a folding bike, like a lot of other people.
You can
when I was looking to buy a folding bike, I was tempted by the cheaper bikes. I went to a bike store that was selling the cheaper bikes, and the guy said to me, I really don't think you should buy this bike because this and this is wrong with it. And I said, what should I buy? And he told me what to buy. He didn't sell them, but I go back to that bike shop the whole time when I want to actually get something repaired. Yeah. I bought my kids' bikes there. So he didn't sell me anything. He helped me. I trusted him. Okay. And actually, he cemented his expertise about knowing about bikes. So he sold me. He knows bikes, I guess, is the answer.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
But I didn't buy anything at that occasion. So that's...
Okay. Let's go to the next statement. Content marketing success is always measured in euros. You'll like that one then, Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm done. If it's not driving revenue, why are you doing it?
In the end.
In the end, yeah.
You're all nodding. Mark, you're nodding also.
Yeah, I also agree. I mean, I try to explain the model which is behind us, and content marketing is a portion of that. I mean, also marketing automation and other things are pretty important to really make it work. But at the end, I also have to explain all those millions you invest into marketing, where does it end up? So, yeah.
Okay.
It has to lead to euros
in the end. You don't... Yeah, you agree, all agree.
All pounds.
But the audience is not too much convinced, eh? There's also something like a psychological income.
No, I think are you guys thinking you can measure it in engagement? I don't know. I hate using the word engagement. I was just going to rant about engagement, so maybe not.
Okay.
But I think the way to measure it at the end of the day, if you want your CFO and your CEO to trust you, you have to measure it in euros.
I think that's, again, it's editing the question. It should be long-term content marketing success is measured in euros. I don't think you can measure it in euros in very short term.
I think you totally can.
Well,
I think overnight you can measure.
Maybe it depends on the scale of the product or the...
That could be, but I think the value of your audience, right? If you have a crappy audience, you can't measure it overnight. Yeah. But if you have access to the right audience and the content inspires them enough, you can measure it almost overnight.
I would buy that. Yeah.
4 more statements. We'll wrap it up 5:30. I promise. Don't worry. So 5 more minutes. Only great content earns you the right to promote your product. Only great content earns you the right to promote your product.
Only great content earns you the right.
This is a more exciting statement now. It's really moving. Only great content. Mark, yeah.
No, it depends. I mean, if I'm looking for an awesome bike, then if someone pops up with a pretty direct message, hey, we have a great bike, and I already kind of know what type I want to buy, then then that is not great content, but I still feel it as something that I can use.
Okay, but the audience is a little bit uncomfortable with this statement. John, do you understand why?
Well, I think it could be that there's great is a superlative. It's like awesome, amazing. And actually, I interpret that question as great is well produced, reliable. What I put in my quote.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be earth-shattering. It just has to be good.
3 more. Stop creating campaigns. Start committing to content. Stop creating campaigns. Start committing to content. Well, you all more or less said campaigning still is. It makes sense if you want to build a brand at the beginning of a process, awareness.
Well, I think when it comes to this, I think I would stop treating content marketing as a campaign. Yeah. So I go to a lot of events where people say content marketing is a campaign, and here, look at my content marketing campaign. That's not content marketing. Content marketing is a commitment to a valuable audience. That's what it is.
It's always on.
Exactly.
A campaign assumes that there's a start and a finish. There's never a start and an end date. People are always there to buy stuff.
Yeah. That's right.
There are some months that they are more tended to buy stuff, but our campaigns, we do not have campaigns. Everything is always on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Without measurable return on investment, CM is a waste of time. Content marketing is a waste of time. Well, it's comparable.
I totally agree with that one.
Yeah.
You totally agree. Why?
Because I think if any marketing is not working, don't do it.
The moment you start talking, something happens with the figures.
Look, I mean, this is part of the problem with marketers already. We've got so much on our plate, and there's so many things we're supposed to be doing. If things aren't working, we can't keep doing them. And one of the problems we have as legacy organizations is spending so much time doing the stuff that worked 3 years ago. Look, YouTube is 10 years old today. YouTube is 10 years old today. Yeah. What are you doing on YouTube? Probably nothing, because you're spending too much time doing whatever you did 5 years ago that was awesome. We got to stop doing it because we're not measuring the ROI in the right kinds of ways. We're not looking at the potential and new opportunities.
Okay. Clear.
I agree. You take the word content out, it's the same.
Blank is a waste of time, right?
Without measuring ROI, anything is a waste of time.
Mark, can you explain why a third of the audience doesn't agree with
If I was not able to measure the ROI, I wouldn't have sit here, and we wouldn't be able to grow our business. I mean, like I said, my team expanded and doubled. We went from 20 to 40. Yeah. Our revenue tripled, and the essence of it is content marketing.
Okay. Right. The last one. Customer centricity is fundamental for content marketing. Customer centricity is the fundament of content marketing. John.
Well, I think knowing what the readers are interested in is key to it, and it's going back to the branch, for example, fractal. That actually it's not about often about a big thing, it's about a very small specific thing that somebody's very interested in. And lots of specific things make for a good approach to content marketing, because not all your audiences are exactly the same.
How difficult is it? I mean, this is what it's all about to some extent, to really listen to your audience. You mentioned you should behave as a TV executive. Yeah. What a TV executive actually does is to some extent listen to the audience, but to the other extent, he or she tries to imagine what the audience would like to have, what it doesn't know what it would like to have. Serendipiteit, what Mark was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you replace customer centricity with audience centricity, I think it's not as hard as we think. Like, if you went into your client list and just looked at the 10 most profitable clients, not the biggest dollar spenders, but the most profitable clients you had in the last year, and you tried to figure out what did they have in common, and then you found other ones just like that and created content that attracted people just like that, you'd be really successful. And if you call that customer centricity or audience centricity, I think you're on the right track. So yeah, I think we all agree, right?
Yeah, and at a certain moment you also should stop listening and started doing things.
I agree.
And keep on listening on the same.
Because also, hey, your current customers won't explain to you what they need tomorrow.
That's right.
And you also have a certain belief, which you should also include into the content that you create.
Yeah, perspective. That's right.
So before wrapping up, there's one final question because you'll be here tomorrow morning.
Yes, I will be here tomorrow
And you'll
morning.
be presenting a session, a strategy session.
Tomorrow morning we're doing a
And
very
there's
intimate strategy session. with
Very
anyone.
intimate strategy session. There's a couple of places open.
Yes, 2 places, right?
Only 2, but we're going to ask the audience. This is a bit nerve-wracking for you, and if somebody wants to join, imagine.
Okay, I won't
99% because it's not in their. And then again, if it's 99% no, it has to do with their schedule. It's not personal, right?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we'll try to figure out, and back there they can
we'll
see,
pick 2 people.
you will see your
Their
name.
names are-
You're safe.
Great.
You're safe. You're safe.
A lot of people
You're
are.
safe.
I'm sorry you're not available.
Okay, well,
I kind of suck, but not really.
it's a schedule thing.
The audience is totally split.
Think schedule
Yeah,
here.
right, schedule.
Schedule. It's only
I appreciate
schedule.
that.
Yeah, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 5:30. Sorry. As promised, we're going to wrap it up. I hope you've had an inspiring afternoon. I would have one more big hand for our 3 speakers, lecturers
you.
today.
Thank you, guys. That was fun.